Hello, welcome to Wrestle MSX. I'm Michael.
I'm Sally.
Rhea Ripley versus Roxanne Perez ended in a no contest due to outside interference from Julia.
The War Raiders defeat Judgment Day's Finn Bálor and McDonagh.
Stephanie Vaquer defeats Ivy Nile.
Bron Breakker wins, I suppose, as Sami Zayn is unable to continue.
Now, as usual, if you want to know what actually happens... Sami Zayn's offered a title shot.
Logan Paul calls out Jey Uso.
Oh, nobody needs that. And Gunther versus Pat McAfee at Backlash. Nick Aldis is standing in for Adam Pearce. We learn that Gunther has been suspended indefinitely after last week's attack on the commentary team, and then we open the show with the only way we can, and that's with the wise man, the visionary, and the dog. Sounds like the start of a joke. Seth opens by saying, "What you see in the ring right now is the future of the industry, and that the future runs through him." Just then, Sami Zayn heads out, which caught me out because I wasn't really expecting him to be the one to confront these, shall we say. Seth welcomes him, with Sami then saying that this new alliance is a load of crap. Sami thinks that Seth was jealous of Punk and Roman, wanting to be in the position they were in, and compares Seth's gang to the Bloodline. Sami threatens to kick Breakker's face in because he keeps looking at him, with Seth then stepping in and saying, "You're either with us or you become a target." Seth suggests that Heyman can pull some strings and get Sami off Raw, presumably to SmackDown, calling it an offer, and that he has by the end of the night to think about it.
First up, Rhea Ripley against Roxanne Perez. Perez gets the first few blows in and then suffers a big boot and near Razor's Edge, but manages to escape by hooking a leg over the top rope, and then goes to work on Mommy's knee and dives out the ring after Ripley, after knocking her to the outside. Rhea catches Perez though and throws her into the crowd barrier. We eventually get back in the ring where Ripley takes down Perez with a clothesline, vertical suplex and dropkick, but Rhea can't capitalise as Perez escapes the ring where it hits a break.
When we come back, we see a springboard moonsault and cover by Perez for 2 before the NXT star ties Ripley up, putting pressure on her knee. Ripley escapes through, finally managing to Razor's Edge her opponent and dropkick her before covering for 2. Rhea then rains blows down on Roxanne, but is then distracted by Julia heading out. This distraction isn't quite enough for Perez to get a cover after a DDT and knee to the back of the head of Ripley. Rhea looks to finish things off after a headbutt and riptide, but as she's about to pull the trigger on the riptide, Julia enters the ring and attacks Rhea, with the ref then calling for the bell as the two NXTers attack the WWE superstar. Out comes Io Sky, straight from working at the garage, for the save, but she also succumbs to the newbies, with Rhea having to come back in and scare them away.
Backstage in the Judgment Day den now, and Finn pulls JD to one side and asks him why he didn't tell him about coming back. McDonagh says he rang Dom to congratulate him on his IC title win and told him, assuming news would spread. Liv Morgan then comes over asking why they aren't getting ready for their match. Bálor asks what match, before JD announces that they have a tag match against the War Raiders later.
You know what happened last time they faced him. After the break, we're in the ring with Logan Paul. He badmouths the crowd, then claims he's done more or less everything in the industry except win a world title, adding that Jey Uso's days are numbered and that he has something Paul wants. Cue Jey Uso. Jey says, "You want the title? Then come get it." Paul responds by saying Jey sounds stupid and that he's going to crash out and lose the belt. Paul then eats a super kick, with Jey then exiting the ring. So, is this the Backlash heavyweight title match? I mean, if it is, there ain't no way Paul's winning, so at least Jey gets to defend and win at a main event.
Yeah.
There ain't no way Paul's winning. Don't let Paul win.
It's a bit soon for Paul to be having a match though, isn't it? He don't like to wrestle that close together.
No, this is true. This is true.
The War Raiders versus the Judgment Days. Finn Bálor and JD McDonagh next. Carlito with JD. And the New Day at ringside. The War Raiders dominate the start, exchanging tags and double teaming both JD members before throwing them out the ring and taunting the New Day. Ivar then gets thrown onto JD, which made me wince, before he leaves the ring and attempts to crossbody McDonagh against the ring apron. JD manages to avoid the attack, which prompts McAfee to say he's moved the ring, with Woods then saying, and that's impressive because he's fat, wow. Pat said he's big boned, with Woods once again saying he's fat, and to be fair he is.
He is. Back from the break, we see Ivar dealing with both of his opponents with a sit-down splat to Bálor and spinning wheel kick to JD, only to miss his moonsault to Finn. JD comes back in and springboard moonsaults both Raiders who were on the outside before pushing Ivar back in the ring, hitting another moonsault and covering for 2, with Eric making the save. Everyone ends up outside the ring with the Raiders throwing the 2 JD members into one another, and then Ivar throwing Bálor into the New Day and then squashing the 3 of them. Back in the ring, JD rolls Eric up for 2 before hitting him with the jawbreaker and heading up for another moonsault. Carlito at this point decides to distract the ref, with Penta then appearing from nowhere and pushing JD down to the mat. This then allows the Raiders to hit War Machine, with Ivar covering JD for the win, which I was surprised at actually. I thought there was, right, Raiders, you've had your titles, we're going to usher you to one side.
Yeah, especially with like McDonagh being back, and it's like they could.
And now you've got Judgment Day back. You've got the New Day with the titles. You've got American Made coming through. Yeah. I'm sure you've got LWO knocking about. You know, Raiders have had their time, move along, but they've won. They might be back in the limelight.
Backstage, we see Otis talking with Sami when Heyman pulls up a chair alongside. Heyman says the 2 of them were the OG bloodline and that he respected Sami when he broke away, hoping Sami will respect him for what he had to do. Heyman tells Sami that Seth sees himself as the vanguard of the industry and Breaker as the dog at the gate, and right now Breaker is demanding a match with Sami. Heyman says that Breaker is the key to their plans, with Seth offering a pass to Sami. Heyman says that if Sami accepts the offer of going to SmackDown, everyone wins, adding that he spoke with Aldis and Pierce, and that if Sami goes, he will face the winner of John Cena versus Randy Orton.
Talk about pulling strings, good, yeah.
Heyman tells Sami to think about it and then heads off. As he does, he passes Breaker, who is standing in the doorway out of shot.
We hear from Becky Lynch next. Lynch admits to attacking Bayley before WrestleMania, and after babbling on, we get to the point. That being that Lynch didn't like Lyra Valkyria cozying up to Bayley while she was gone, hence the attack. Lynch called Lyra a loser, which prompts Lyra to then head out. Lyra says she was warned about Lynch and then gets in the ring ready to rumble, with Lynch making a sharp exit. Lyra wants a brawl now, with Lynch not interested, so Lyra offers her a fight at Backlash, offering to put the IC title on the line. Lynch accepts, with Lyra saying she already knows she's a better wrestler than Lynch. Lynch then goes off on one, but Valkyria puts a stop to that by drop-kicking her through the ropes and laying into her in the ring. Lynch manages to escape, heading off through the crowd. Valkyria acknowledges the crowd at the top of the rampway, but is attacked from behind by Becky, who then slopes off after the damage has been done. I did not realise how stacked Lyra was. Like, usually they've got the ring attire and you can't quite see the body shape.
Yeah.
But she was jacked, because she had like this skirt on, and you could see her arms, there was nothing covering it, there was no feathers.
Yes,
And she's actually hench. Yeah, more than I thought. Anyway, enough about that.
Backstage, we see Penta when Nick Aldis approaches him, saying he's made him a match for next week against JD McDonagh. As Aldis heads off, Chad Gable appears with Ivy Nile. Gable calls Penta a clown before saying that his favourite part of WrestleMania wasn't seeing Penta lose, it was seeing his useless brother lose to El Grande Americano. Penta then attacks Gable.
We have a vignette from Rusev next saying that when he left the WWE he fell into the abyss, but there he found himself and fixed himself. He's going to hunt the flawed and those that waste their talents like he did, vowing to perfect them through pain.
Next up, Ivy Nile with Gable against Stephanie Vaquer. Nice technical start from both women, with 2 pin attempts from Vaquer, both surmounting to 2. And a head scissors takedown from both before we get the Devil's Kiss from Vaquer. Back from the break, we see the same move, followed by a Meteora and cover by Vaquer, but only for 2 as El Gable places Nile's leg on the rope. Nile then kicks and German suplexes Vaquer into cover for 2 before heading to the top rope and getting nowhere as Vaquer gets up to her and superplexes her back down to the mat, covering for 2. Nile then counters an SVB attempt by Vaquer into a swinging-looking rock bottom and covers for 2. Vaquer then dragon screws Nile from the corner, hits the SVB and covers for the 1, 2, 3.
Backstage we see Aldis with AJ Styles, with Aldis saying he has a list of potential matches for Styles. Styles is interested when the pair get interrupted by Dom, Liv and Raquel. Morgan says she needs some time off to film a big Hollywood movie. Now I don't know what this is, but she would make a great Harley Quinn from Batman. With Dom then saying he needs time off too, prompting Aldis to ask why. Dom replies that he's champion and can do whatever he wants. Aldis laughs saying when you're the champ your workload doubles. Dom then asks what Aldis and Styles were talking about, asking if it's a retirement home for Styles. Styles takes umbrage to this, with the JD members then leaving. After they've gone, Styles says he has an idea, with Aldis agreeing. Now, it's funny this should happen with Liv. Good luck to whatever she's doing. But I said at Mania, why would you give Lynch the titles, the tag titles? What's the point? She's not coming back. She's just going to go off again. The titles are going to be hidden. Now Liv and Rodriguez have won the titles, and now Liv's going. So now again, so the titles are going to be lost in here. I don't know what film she's doing. I'll have to have a Google of that later.
Let's have a look, yeah.
You know, she was probably Marine 10 or whatever it is. Who knows? But they said, mind you, they said big Hollywood films. So
yes, maybe
or she
that.
did. That's subjective. Anyway.
We see Sami Zayn pacing backstage when Karrion Kross appears.
Is he still there?
He tells Sami he has a big decision to make tonight and that hopefully he'll make the correct one.
Thanks for that, Karrion. See you next week. We take another look at last week's attack by Gunther on the comms team before we hear from Pat McAfee. Unfortunately, Gunther didn't do enough damage to Pat last week as he goes on and on and on and on and, well, you get the picture. He tells us what he's done for various communities, children's hospitals and homeless shelters, hopes people will remember him for the good he's done when he dies, and lastly hopes people will say he was a loyal mofo. Nice. Pat calls Cole the goat, saying you mess with Cole, you mess with me. And then think he makes another swear, which is bleeped out, and calls for SmackDown's version of Adam Pearce to come out. Nice to see McAfee knows who he's working with and putting the effort in. Well done, Pat. Out comes Aldis, telling Pat to stay professional. Pat wants Aldis to lift Gunther's ban so he can fight him, with Aldis saying he thought he may ask that. He's not lifting the ban, but has an alternative. I wonder what this could be. Gunther McAfee at Backlash. Now, my own opinion here, surely Gunther's not going to lose this.
You wouldn't have thought so, would you?
I mean, come on. He's an actual wrestler. Pat's not. Why would you bury Gunther? He's literally just been the heavyweight champion of the world. He lost at Mania, and then a month later he's fighting, let's be honest, a no-name, not a wrestler.
Yeah, exactly.
He's known as the ring general.
The only thing I think is just to build him back up after his loss. But
what, against McAfee?
Yeah.
Yeah, he'll beat what? So beat McAfee, put him in the sleeper.
McAfee can have some time
Rhea naked chokehold, I think it's called. But then McAfee bring back an actual wrestler for SummerSlam. I mean, people say Goldberg, but I'm not buying that. I think Gunther'd batter him. I know he won't but he's in his prime, Gunther. Goldberg's
But if it's meant to be his retirement match, then he should lose anyway. So
this is true, because you always lose your retirement match. Or your last match.
Yes.
But anyway, enough of us rambling. Any comments? Let us know.
We take a look back at SummerSlam from 2007, where Cena defended the WWE Championship against Randy Orton. Before we head backstage once again to see Sami Zayn mulling over the offer proposed to him by Heyman. Jey Uso walks up to the conflicted Zayn, saying whatever decision he decides to make is going to be best for him. Zayn says that's what he needed to hear before walking off. With Zayn gone, the camera still on Jey, so you know something's about to happen. And it does.
Oh, what is it?
A big slap from Logan Paul, flooring Jey.
Oh, so this is totally a match at Backlash. We head back to the ring with Seth awaiting Sami's answer, calling him out so they can talk. Zayn answers the call and heads to the ring. Seth says that the way forward is himself, Bron and Heyman, and that Zayn not believing in him hurts. Seth speaks about the birth of his daughter and thanks Zayn for the advice he gave him when he became a new father, before offering Sami some advice that could save his life. Seth once again tells Sami to take the pass, otherwise if he stays here and doesn't believe in Seth, then bad things will happen. Sami responds by saying that everything outside the ring is true as they have a real friendship, but inside the ring, Sami feels he's playing games. Even though Seth's dangling the WWE title in front of him, Sami asks Seth if he's ever known him to run away, adding that he will not be threatened, telling Seth to go to hell. This initiates the sirens of Bron Breakker's entrance as he heads out with Paul Heyman.
So, last match of the night, Bron Breakker versus Sami Zayn. Good luck, Sami.
I tell you what, who saw this match coming?
It starts pretty much as expected with Bron running roughshod over Sami. Sami getting in what offence he can, when he can, but ultimately not really putting a stop to Breakker's attacks. McAfee refers to Bron as Steiner at one point.
Who?
Dunno. Before we see Sami toss Breakker from the ring. This doesn't pan out well as just before we go to a break we watch Bron jump from the apron onto Zayn, taking them both over the announcer's desk.
Back from the break and we're on the top rope with Zayn pulling off a sunset flip powerbomb into cover for 2, followed by a tornado DDT into another cover also for 2. I mean, like Zayn's going to win. Sami goes to the top rope, but you know what's coming, a Frankensteiner. With both men back down to the mat, Bron sets up for a spear, but Sami counters it with a kick and exploder. Sami looks for the haluva kick, but gets met halfway across the ring by a spear. Bron hits another spear, with Sami then rolling towards the edge of the ring.
Seth tells Sami he can take the out, there's still time.
There's still time, they're in the middle. That's it, he said no, he's getting beat up.
And to take the deal. Sami tells him to go to hell before suffering another spear. After Sami takes it, he rolls out the ring, with the ref calling over medics to have a look at Zayn. While this is happening, Seth mimics The Rock's favourite new gesture with the fingers across the throat to Bron, with Bron then leaving the ring, running around the outside and spearing Sami for the 4th time. Bron throws Sami back into the ring to finish him off, but the ref covers Sami, not for the pinfall, but to protect him from the onslaught, and calls for the bell, ending the match. Seth pushes Breakker into the corner, tells him that Sami made his bed, and then stomps Zayn for good measure. Raw goes off the air with the new alliance standing in the ring.
I mean, it was obviously predictable what the last match was going to be and what was going to happen. Well, yeah. I mean, it may have caught some people off guard. I mean, there was no way Breakker was losing that first one, but ridiculous.
Oh, no.
I think what we're all waiting on now is, I think we can generally see where this is going. In my opinion, it's the name. What are they going to call themselves?
Because they keep saying...
A new alliance?
Alliance, but I think there's been a group called the Alliance.
Oh, somebody's done their own work, not me.
I think it was when WWE took over WCW. And I think it was when they was kind of,
Wasn't even born. What are you on about?
And I'm sure they was called the Alliance. When it was
fair enough.
I think it was WWE against, those sometimes called Team WCW, but I think they was called the Alliance as well. So, I don't know if they could go with that.
They could get away with the Alliance.
Yeah, they could,
I mean, the Alliance would fit. I like that. It's not ridiculous.
No.
I mean, obviously, it could be anything. Interesting to see Vaquer and Perez coming up, whether they're up yet, whether they're... I don't know what's going on with that.
Apparently they've wore a Raw debut badge, which is a new thing they've brought out. Obviously,
And then
they're going
I'm aware of
They're
it.
going to put them in cards or something like that.
Oh yes, I've heard about that. Yeah.
So apparently they
don't waste your money on them.
They wore them.
Because in 10 years' time, when you look at me, you'll be like, why did I buy these?
So possibly up.
Okay.
But any thoughts or views that you'd like to share, then please feel free to leave them in that comment section just down below.
Thank you. If you like what we do, or enjoyed it, just like. You don't have to subscribe. Just give us a like. Thank you for watching, though.
And we'll see you Wednesday for a look at this past week in WWE, and Saturday when we look at SmackDown.